Welcome back to UKSG Autumn 2022. This event, we are raising money for Crisis. Links to donate can be found below the stream. We'd also like to shout out ESA and BSG for their continued support. Now, speaking of donations, you guys donated for it. We now have 100% of... Hang on, is this a scheduling error? Nothing. Are we saying that RuffledBricks is running nothing? That doesn't matter. We'll let RuffledBricks go on with the run and work out what's gone wrong.
No, you're absolutely right. I am doing absolutely nothing. This is this game is it's not a performance art project by UKSG. This is in fact a ZX Spectrum demake of a PC game by Joel Likes Pigs. And it's been expanded from a 1-level game into a 4-level, 3-boss, full-length extravaganza. So I'm going to be doing a 100% run. Thank you everyone who donated to make that happen. And I'm joined on commentary by Digital Duck. And that's not distracting in the slightest. So, right, this game starts off very hard. So I'm going to let Duck talk through the first section of it as we start a run in 3, 2, 1. Off we go.
Yeah, so the basic premise of this game is that you literally start off with nothing. You have no controls, you have no music, no sound effects, and as you drop, you unlock them as you go. And so far we've unlocked the ability to move left, which is it's something that you can start with, but unfortunately without the ability to move right, it's very limited. So we've unlocked the ability to jump. We can now climb up these platforms, and we can also move the camera with this latest ability. We're actually not going to move the camera because Ruffle already knows this level like the back of his hand. He's just going to pre-plan where the platforms are and act like a psychic.
Yeah, so there's a very fixed set of cycles that I was trying to get for this first section here, and I've just missed it, unfortunately. Like, cycling these platforms here is really difficult because you can only move left and jump at this point, so you cannot move right because of that. This is actually one of the hardest parts of the entire run as a result. So because we're off cycle here, I'm just going to be a little bit careful. And okay, so we're out of the first section, so that is donezo. And now we've unlocked the ability to crouch. This enables us to drop through the thin platforms like that, so that we can go down there. And as this is a 100% run, what we're having to do is collect all of the items, including the optional ones. So we've just got our first optional item there. It's the broken radar in the top left-hand corner. That is used to detect absolutely nothing. Which is the name of the game. Yes, so exactly.
It's very useful in that respect.
This is a kind of auto-scrolling bit. We're using the crouch ability to get past these flying balls. You also get a text box there that says try ducking, just in case you haven't tried that at that point. But and here's squeaky shoe mode. So now everywhere we run, we're going to make squeaky noises. And a little text box there telling us to run across here. Possibly could have got past those crushers, but just playing it a little bit safe here. And it is time for the elevator music. It sounds a bit like the girl from Ipanema, but legally it's not. Basically, on all the lifts on this game, you get the elevator music, and then when you get to the top, you unlock the regular music again. And now we've unlocked the ability to go right, and the ability to run now, which means we're going to be able to speed things up a bit, which is very helpful for a speed run. A couple of tough jumps just coming up here. Let's see how we go. I'm going to just play it safe, actually, because I've already messed up the opening platform cycles, so... Oh, there we go. You can see pretty tough these jumps there, but you need the run to be able to kind of like do those efficiently. So because this is a 100% run, we are going to have to do 3 whole circuits of this first level here. So that point there, we're supposed to go right to get to the end, but here we are now going left to take the second cycle around and dropping onto this platform here for the second time. Now these platforms here, because... Oh, well, I was going to say, because we now have the ability to move right and left, they are a little bit easier, but we've just dropped off that one there. So you'll notice there's a congratulations message in the this corridor here, by the way. This is because in the original PC version of this game, this was where the game ended. Like, that was, as I say, it was only a 1-level game originally, and you know, when you went off to the right, then you ended up just finishing up. But hey, right. I'm going to just concentrate a little bit on these crushers here.
Yeah, I think the game was originally made for a game jam.
That sounds right.
So it was a single level just made to show off the concept of you start with nothing, you unlock things as you go.
Yeah.
And this remake or demake massively expands on that. We've got much more things to unlock and much more to see in general.
Yes, absolutely. And we could have just done an any % run where we skip all of the optional items here, but we're going to show you pretty much everything that this game has to offer in this run. Here we go again, round these cycles. And the graphics actually really are pushing the spectrum to the limit as well. Like this scrolling, I think, was not particularly commonplace back then. Now, if you've got any pent-up anger, now is the time to get it out of your system. We've got R mode. That's the spirit. So yeah, our character is now going to scream for the rest of the run. So I hope you all enjoy that. And as you can see, now because we can crouch and because we can go, well, we crouched before, but because we go right, I've just almost forgot. Very important optional item coming up here. Text box, you got nothing. And then back across to the left we go. I'm running across here, trying not to get hit by the crushers there, because that can sneak up on you. Now, coming up on the lift shaft here, we have got 2 items. This first one turns you into blue mode. It makes your character blue. The second one removes blue mode. And I'm thinking we need a little bit more color in this run. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save the blue for the final cycle, so that we actually get to keep the blue for a significant portion of the rest of the run. And there's the crusher again.
What's interesting is that this game doesn't consider blue mode a visual upgrade.
Yes.
It considers it a movement upgrade.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is, I'm not entirely sure the logic behind that, but I guess being blue is just that awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we've activated hunger mode there. So as you can see, we've got the hunger gauge in the bottom right-hand corner. That is pretty much a staple of old school ZX Spectrum games, like having the gauge that just ticks down and your health just kind of like goes down the longer that you are around in the level. Basically, we hold off from getting that until the last cycle of this level because you're basically invulnerable without it. Or at least you won't run out of health if you don't get it. But once you get it, then that is the end. Oh, okay, that was lucky. Yeah, this is a tough section here, just because. This is. Yeah, those cycles there can conspire against you, but fortunately we got past it, and now we get our second hunger meter here, which basically is earlier on in the level, so you can unlock that much quicker. And our final visual upgrade here is the fairy. And the fairy is basically just asks, hey, and listen constantly. Does that remind you of anyone? So here we go now. So we've done, this is the final cycle of the level. And going up the elevator for the last time, and here we are in blue mode. And I've just realised I have, we better reset there because the hunger meter was on its last legs there, so I knew I was forgetting to do something. But
yeah, the other reason we collect the items the way we do is because we want to have times we can reset. And
yes.
the items also serve as checkpoints as we go.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we'll be trying to use those accordingly the further we get into the run. And so here we are for the last time going past the congratulations message here. And okay, again, I'm just gonna play this fairly safe because this is a tough old game, this one. And we will lose quite a bit of time if we mess up these jumps. So here we go. Now coming up is the first boss, and I have to say this boss is extremely difficult. It requires a lot of concentration. So we'll have some quiet on the T for this because this is Grandmother's Footsteps. So, here we go. So the object here is we want to get to the right-hand side, but every time the squid opens its eye, we have to stop moving. Because otherwise, if he sees us moving, then he wallops us and we go straight back to the start. Oof. Ooh. Very close there. Oh, these are some harsh cycles, I have to say. Yeah, basically the duration that they don't look at you is RNG. So. Oh, come on! Those were some. I have to say that was some of the meanest cycles I've ever had from this boss. So this is a longer cycle, for example, and this does make it a little bit easier when you get this. Oh, that was close. Okay, so another long cycle this time. Come on! Okay, I am just going to keep quiet for this just because we're probably not going to get this done otherwise, so... Heart is pounding right now. Because we can also run out of the hunger gauge as well on this. Jeez. Oh.
Hey.
Horrible, horrible boss, that one. Okay, but we're through. So that is the hardest part of the run over now. So we go on to the second level, which is called, is it Go Your Own Way or something like that?
Yeah.
Going to try a little trick here. Right, food skip there. So that is quite a hard trick to get. We're skipping that bit of food there just because I'm going to use that as a checkpoint a bit later on in the level. Jumping up these conveyor belts here and grabbing the ability to slide, which is a huge game changer. For a few reasons. Firstly, we can slide under the food now. Secondly, it gets us underneath that low ceiling. But thirdly, it unlocks one of the most OP abilities in the game, which I'll talk about in a moment. Firstly, just doing a certain amount of jumps here to keep myself static whilst the crushers move out of the way. And then here, we're going to do this slide jump, which, as you can see, launches you a very high way up, which means we can actually go up here much sooner. And this is important because we're going to use some slides here to get past these crushers consistently. There we go. And now we got the second chance item. And this basically completely transforms the run because now we don't die immediately. Now we have a damage boost that we can use. So that every time we get hit, we have a bunch of iframes that we can use to basically just power on through a lot of the obstacles in the level. And that makes the last 2/3 of this run like so much quicker. So what we're going to do is basically we're going to do a lot of things where we just hit some spikes or an obstacle or whatever, and then we're just going to use the iframes to get through, and then we reset at the each checkpoint. So this will enable us to basically make use of it. And that's quite a hard damage crouch jump, that one there, just because you've only got a set amount of time, obviously, that you can stand on those spikes for. Grabbing all the colours here, we've settled on green just because that is the furthest to the left. And then here we've got the ability now to break walls, which means we can go through this. And also 2 eyes now, so we now have depth perception. So here we go again, just taking damage here, and because we've used the crouch jump to skip a bunch of the level here, all these platforms off to the right, which you would use in a normal run, but those are meaningless now, basically. We don't need those. And that is the food that I skipped earlier, and I'm using that for this particular section here, because I've now just used a reset so that we got the damage boost available for this spike pit, running through the crushers here. Oh, and this is another particularly tricky part, because we've got a long jump coming up here It's the very last one that's tough here. There we go. Got it in one. And now we're nearly at the end of the second level here. We've just got one more section of climbing here to do with these moving platforms. So up we go, and jumping up this way, up here, take a damage boost on the spikes, then crouch jump up like that, grab the info, jump to the center, and this is very V inspired section there as we complete the second level and go on to the second boss. Do you want to talk about this boss, Duck?
Yeah, so this boss is it's basically a bullfight, and the bull is a robot, and it will charge at you if it sees you, and it also has complete blindness to any sort of ground below it. So it'll head towards you and then just fall to its death, as long as you collapse the platforms in the right way.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yeah, easiest boss in the game, that one. And now on to the final level. All around is the same. This is basically a remix of the first level, although that won't show for the moment. What we've just done there is we've unlocked the AGD enemies, which aren't especially helpful. I'd say quite the opposite. Fortunately, there's only 5 of them in the level, but there's 3 particularly nasty ones that we have to get past before, and these are all the optional upgrades that we got the first time round, but we just have to get them again to make sure we've 100%ed this. This is the ability to push platforms, which we're not going to use, but that's what that's for. Here we've been told do not run, and there's a good reason for that, because here we've unlocked infinite lives. Spoiler alert, we already had infinite lives. That is a troll item, but because it's 100%, we need to get it. And another troll item is coming up just here. So if you saw the Magic Land Dizzy run earlier that Tiny Tim did, here is the backwards thing, the Michael Jackson moonwalk, and all of the controls here are now reversed. So we are going to be doing the next section of the run with reversed controls, which is... that's easy. Fun little fact, you can actually soft lock the game by not unreversing the controls. There's an item later on that will enable us to do that. What is going on here? Right, I'm just going to focus on this bit. Duck, if you want to just take over for a moment.
Yeah, so do you want me to talk about the soft lock?
Yeah, talk about the soft lock.
Yeah, so basically you can skip. We've seen RuffledBricks skip a few items earlier on already, and you can actually skip the item that unreverses your controls. Sorry, I'm struggling to speak here.
That's alright.
And
so am I. What are we like?
Yeah, and basically when you get to the ending, you lose the ability to move left, I think.
Yes, right.
Or right.
Yeah. No, it's left, but because
left,
it's reversed, then
yes.
it's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you lose the ability to move left, but because you've got reverse controls, you actually lose the ability to go right, and it means you can no longer progress in the game. And nothing you can do can fix that.
Elevator music again, everyone. Sing along! It's all right. And you also get a message there saying long elevator right. And now here is the tough part with the enemies here. We're going to try and one-cycle this, but this is very hard. So jump in here, and jump here, jump there. Got it. And then... what that means is that you keep your damage boost there and you can just like plow straight through those crushers, and that's very important because those crushers are really hard to get past without using your damage boost. So the fact that we one-cycled those enemies meant that we got to do it, and that is very helpful. Right, I'm just going to reset here because I want to keep my damage boost here for a spike pit that is coming up a little bit. It's not even really a pit, it's raised spikes. And that's another bit of the level that's really hard to get by. Also, this is the longest section of the game that has no checkpoints in it. So we have to be like pretty careful here not to overexert ourselves. But here we go, like jumping up here. And then here is what I want to use the damage boost for, is these spikes here, just because that jump is really fiddly otherwise. And then the hardest jump, got it. Okay, because if you fall down there, then that is a lot of time lost. And now on to the final boss. This is called the greatest battle ever. This boss operates in 3 cycles. The first of these cycles, the boss has these orbs that cycle around them. The orbs occasionally turn into these crumbling blocks, and when they do, all you need to do is just crash into one of them. And then when you do that 4 times, that will destroy the first phase of the boss. And we'll progress onto the second one, where the UFO develops a wheel. Or 2 wheels rather, and with this phase we need to do 6 hits, and what we need to do is just lure the enemy to crash into the wall 6 times, You'll know if you've done it right because a puff of smoke comes out afterwards. So that's 3, isn't it? Right, so here we go on to 4. And then for the last crash, I'm going to let them drop down to the lower platform here. And, oh, damn it. And, right, so we lost our damage boost, which means I've lost a slight time save towards the end. But there we are. That's the 6 hits there. And now he's lost his craft, so now it's just a little alien running about. And how are we going to kill him? We've got no offensive weapons. What we're going to do is just chase him into the crushers. And away he goes. And that is the final boss killed. And we have one more level, which is the epilogue. And this here, we've got the elevator music for the whole level. And all we're going to do here is we're now going to, one by one, lose all of our abilities that we grabbed over the run. So we've lost all our visual upgrades, although for some reason, as Duck mentioned earlier, we're still green. We went for the wall. We've now lost our extra abilities, so we're not going to be able to break blocks anymore. And here is where you would soft lock if you didn't correct the controls, because now we can no longer move to the left. So we're now going to jump up here, and now we're no longer able to crouch. So at that junction there, we had to go up. We can't go down. And now we've lost the ability to jump. And we've got a couple more obstacles we have to get past. And time is coming up when I remove the text box from this last item here, which we're going to grab very shortly. So time is now. And so what happened now is we have lost all ability to move. So we're just going on this conveyor belt past all these crushers. Fortunately, the crushers are timed very specifically to not kill us off here. So our character just stands around, tapping their foot, then gets dumped onto this elevator, and you get a sort of semi-classic ZX Spectrum ending here. Not so much classic in that it doesn't just start over again, but what you're going to see is our character here is taken up to the top, and then suddenly all the pretty stars come into the sky, and our character starts to float up into space, because if you can't beat them, join them. And that, my friends, is the 100% run of nothing. And the stars just slowly disperse. And then there's one more bit of wisdom that we get at the very end of the game here, which is, for we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. 1 Timothy 6:7. Duck has theorized that we should call the character Timothy because of this quote. So if anyone asks you about the game, that's the guy's name. But there we are. That was nothing, which we completed with just 5 deaths. So fairly happy with that. So thank you very much for having me. UKSG, thank you very much for Duck for commentary. And thank you to Angel Interceptor as well, who was meant to be doing commentary. She couldn't be here, unfortunately, but she's been great sense of support for this game. And thanks to the whole ZX Spectrum speedrun community. If you want to learn how to run any ZX Spectrum games, join the Speedtrum Spec Running Discord. And Duck, anything you want to shout out?
No, I shouted everything out.
Okay, cool. So yeah, and I am on twitch.tv/RuffledBricks if you want to see me speedrun more cartoony graphics games like this one. I mainly speedrun Worms games these days, but occasionally I'll do ZX Spectrum stuff as well.
Brilliant, thank you very much. We've got a few donations to read before we go to the intermission. We've got 2 $10 donations from Boglior, one which reads literally money for nothing, and another for Digital Duck, sitting ducks, racing ducks, and now space ducks. And then we also had a $10 donation from Big the Dave. Seeing 100% of nothing done in 21 minutes is impressive, considering 5% of nothing is 9 minutes 38. There are about 4 people who will get that. Safe to say, I am not one of those 4 people. Thank you all very much for your donations. Keep them coming in. We're going to go to an intermission, and when we return, we will have a race on Lotus Esprit Turbo Challenge. Whoosh!